Alright, hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I am the Dutchman and I'm making this video to let you know what has been going on as of late in the Remake mod, which is a lot. As you may know, the team has been expanded many months ago and they have been putting in a lot of good work. And I'm basically here to give you an update about everything that's been going on. There's a lot of under the hood and in development stuff has been going on without much to show for it yet, because a lot of it is code related and a lot of work has to be put in beforehand before any of it is ready. So I'm here to tell you about specifically what I have been doing, but I'll give you a short rundown of what the rest has been doing as well. I need to start here. I'm going to be talking about the Starbase in just a bit, but first a little bit of the other stuff that I know many of you that don't follow the Discord server and the streams will not have any idea what's going on, since I don't like updating ModDB with work in progress stuff. So, quick rundown. The Galactic Conquest mechanics are getting completely overhauled. A long time ago I made a video about the faction-specific mechanics that I would like implemented in the game. We had that kind of planned out at that point. That's now being implemented. The Empire is almost entirely done with the sectors and the moths and the public order system and all that stuff. And that is ready to move on to the Rebellion, which is what we'll do next with that. Ground combat is making a return right after this, but since everyone right now is waiting on the new starbases and Valaducia and such, I'm working on that. Valaducia itself has been put on hold, since it will take me at least 3 months to finish that. And such, we have placeholder stations as of right now, which is a modular thing, but I'll get to that in a minute. After I'm done with all the starbases, we'll get to the ground overhaul and all that. We have all new building chains for ground, all faction specific. We have overhauled the economy. You get far less money right now, and as some of you may know, the starfighters now actually cost money. If you lose them in Galactic Conquest, which means that carriers are far less powerful than they used to be, because you actually have to pay full price for the replacement of a squadron. If you lose a starfighter, you'll have to pay for that starfighter, and of course when the squadron goes down, it's RIP. It's RIP. So if you go around with a carrier heavy force, such as say Venators or Quasars, Tonfalks, and you start losing your starfighters, you're going to have to pay out the nose for those, because they're quite expensive, of course. That also further highlights the use of, for example, TIEs, because TIEs aren't as expensive. Like a TIE fighter, losing that, you only have to pay, I think, like 250 for a replacement TIE fighter swarm. Whereas if, for example, you're losing a Y-Wing for the Rebellion, you have to pay 750 for that. That, along with the overall economy, will really put a damper on the amount of units that you and the AI, also of course the AI, can build. On top of that, we are also overhauling the skirmish mechanics. Don't mind the explosions. The skirmish space has been going in. At least the skirmish versions, for which we're keeping the shield gate. We have all new stations for skirmish that you can build, like shipyards, fortresses, defense grids, satellites, all that sort of stuff to kind of spice up the skirmish. We're also recoding the AI from the ground up to actually go capture these bloody things finally, and that's in progress. It works so far, but again, that's just an in-progress thing. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the starbases specifically, what's been going on with that. As you guys may know, a Starbase Overhaul was planned a long time ago. That was meant to be Valaducia, which is this gigantic map-wide starbase with modular add-ons. I still want to do that, but I kind of need to have this done since people are waiting for it on the rest of the team, so I rigged up this alternate station, basically, which is made by Elratie, all credit to him for the model and textures, and me for the lights and rigging. Which is basically also a modular station. It has a ring of shipyards and administrative offices that attaches to this section, specifically down here, which is not in yet because while I have the whole models exported, I'll show you in a bit actually, the models and such, they're not coded in the game yet. I just actually finished coding these today, and this is a great opportunity to update people. So we are switching from a 5-level starbase to a 3-level starbase. It is now a space colony, as was planned, which I'll let you read for a second. Infrastructure needed for housing personnel in orbit. cooker starfighters and stuff. Basically, the space colony, for those of you that don't know, in the new Starbase Overhaul, is going to be what keeps your personnel, which is crewing all your starbases, like shipyards and defense stations and luxury casinos, fucking gas depots and refinery around gas giants, that sort of stuff. It's fairly undefended. It has hard points, but it's fairly... actually, this thing, the level 3, which is the final one, has 71 hard points. That sounds like a lot until you see it in action. First things first, the space colony is quite expensive. It's fairly thick. It's fairly, triple C for sure. It's fairly big. It has a lot of HP. It has a lot of shields. It can't do a lot of fighting though. While it does have a garrison, as you can see down here, you can also see the stats if you wish to read that. It is the baseline starbase that then allows you access to a couple of more stations. And as you build more infrastructure in orbit, you have access to more stations. Specifically, level 1 and 2 are pretty much purely infrastructure. As you can see, this is basically just the housing for the people, the personnel you have, and then this is what facilitates attaching more stuff to this starbase, namely this ring right here, to which again the starbases and the administrative offices attach. And then level 3 is basically just the defense upgrade, which adds a couple of heavy weapons. Actually, quite a lot of heavy weapons. And a whole bunch of medium stuff around the station as basically just a defense upgrade. Size comparison with the old shield gate. We'll probably be keeping the shield gate for skirmish, because the flow of having 5 levels instead of 3 is just much better for skirmish in my opinion. Having played a couple of mods that have like 3 skirmish starbase levels, I think 5 is better. Also gives us a nice use for the shield gate. I plan to use this as a support station in GC, but at this point we have so many other support stations that I don't think there's any room on the map anymore. And we'll just relegate it to skirmish, which is a fine use for it. Yeah, let me talk a little bit about the additional stations that we have planned, and as well as the population capacity. Since this is quite a big station and can house a lot of people, I plan to have these give about 60 pop cap for the level 1, 90 for level 2, and since level 3 is purely basically a defense add-on and doesn't actually add any infrastructure, it is 90, same as level 2. With that comes the cost. There are a bunch of starbases planned. Let me see if I can have this on the screen while I also have the game open. I don't think I can. That's a bit of a shame. Okay, then I'll quickly finish the exploration of the stations themselves, and then I will go to the plans of the rest of the stuff, as well as show you the models that I've already rigged for the shipyards and the administrative offices, and how they attach to the starbase. Level 1 is pretty much completely undefended, aside from its garrison. It does have, for the Empire at least, all 3, by the way, factions are going to be using the same station. Again, it's basically a replacement station. More may come later, but since multiple people are waiting for me to finish this, I need to wrap this stuff up sooner rather than later. So, hence why also there's no unique models for stuff, otherwise I would have done if I would do shit. Aside from the garrison and its substantial amount of HP and shields, level 1 is pretty much completely undefended, while level 2 does add a couple of dual turbo lasers around the bottom of the starbase. It also moves the station up, as you can see. Creates a little bit of a height thing. I felt that might be nice. It is all still fairly undefended, and it is purely just for the additional personnel that you can now house on the station, which then gives access to far more build options. For level 1, you basically can build right now as a civilian thing. You can build a gas depot and gas giants, and a golden one and the satellite defense grid, which I'd hope to show off today, but that wasn't done. I don't want to get this video out there, since I get the same questions over and over and over. And a golden one as defense. More info on all of that later. Level 2, because it has all of the infrastructure required, it can now support the 3 levels of shipyards, as you can see with the defense thing. Let's see if we can do it this way. Allows construction of shipyards level 1, 2, 3. Satellite defense grid, again, same for level 1. You can build the golden 1, 2, and 3 in this right now. as well as the Skystrike Academy, which is going to replace the uplink station or the comm station, which is right now where you build your elite starfighters. On the civilian side of things, this now allows for the administrative offices, again attaches to the thing, the luxury space casino, and on urban planets, of course, and on gas giants, the gas depot. There is already a major overhaul in GC, which sees different planet types have different kind of buildings, and this is just an expansion of that, that you can build different stuff in different locations. Level 3 is more of a military type thing, again, now that it has the defenses necessary to stand its ground, more or less. Again, 71 hardpoint sounds like a lot until you actually see this thing tested and you realize that really it's so big and the fire angles are such in a way that a third of the station is pretty much unable to fire in whichever direction the enemy is coming from, unless they're foolish enough to completely surround it, that it's not actually as OP as it sounds. It's actually quite fragile, surprisingly. At this point you get quad heavy ions, exported a new fancy projectile for that so it matches the barrel distances, quad heavy turbos, a bunch of other stuff. I got a couple of dual turbo laser turrets here. I am moving away from turrets. I don't like them as much anymore as I used to, but I still put a couple on this station because I thought it might be nice. And then a bunch of weapon towers, 21 on the outside ring, 2 ion cannons, medium jewels on the outside basically, and then 5 dual turbos on the inside, same as these weapon towers. Since it now has the defense, this basically allows construction of the rest, which is, I think it's only the military that adds on. I have my spreadsheet and then I took away my spreadsheet. No, there's also a couple of civilian things. I think it's basically just Skyhook and the gas refinery. Skyhook will, I'll show you the spreadsheet in a bit and then I'll explain what they do. Gas refinery on gas giants and Skyhook on urban. For the military side of things, the orbital uplink station and the strategic fleet command, again I'll give you a bit of a rundown on what those exactly do. But the idea being is that you have to build up your colony. This is your replacement for your main starbase, guys. You have to build your colony first in orbit, and then you can build the rest of your stuff. And specifically, when you want to construct starships, you need shipyards, of course. And for that, you need a colony level 2. So it's kind of gating the construction of certain things. That's the idea here. Less so than I had planned with Valaducia, but it's still much, much, much better than what it is now. Yeah, again, they test, they work, shield gate here for size comparison. They're basically the same size, but of course the height element does make a, makes it look a little bit more imposing. Again, don't mind this, I haven't recorded the skirmish things. Also new radar stuff. Let's see, let's get over to the spreadsheets. I want to get this over with rather quickly. Although I could sit there for like an hour going through the plans and how I plan to set up the maps and like the locations of these, because we can make these starbases spawn in specific areas on the map, so we can build like, kind of build your own fortress. That's how I plan to attach the stations, the side stations to Valaducia, kind of make that modular, but with that out the window, at least for now, or on hold I should say, not out the window, still plan to do it. I want to do it this way. Some parts are still attached, like the shipyards. Let me show you that real quick. I don't think I copied them off yet. Starbase, let's see. The shipyard levels are basically thirds of a ring. Like so. They are equipped with 10 quad turbo laser turrets individually, and they basically attach to the starbase. I'll show you how they attach in just a second. The idea is that, obviously, upgrading your starbase or your shipyard level, which you'll be able to do in Galactic Conquest, allows you to build bigger and better ships. There are also the administrative offices, which you can build on basically any planet, and that allows you to have a set percentage of your planetary income, probably like 100%. So you just get a bit of income there. The idea being that without the need for planet-side bureaucracy, you can basically monitor the whole like tax collecting system very carefully, because it's all happening on a single space station, so that really helps to drive out things like corruption And so you get a bit of a boost. That's the idea there. Basically, it's just your basic economy building that you build in space. Of course, we have that on the ground too. But again, this is just the starbases. How the whole thing looks when everything is attached. This is what it's meant to look like when the whole thing is basically built up fully. Here you have your level 3 base with your shipyards and your stations attached, your offices. Of course, you don't need to do this. You don't need the level 3. You can attach it to the level 2 just as well. I actually switched that around just today. We had it set up so that first you had to get first you made the first basic colony, then the defenses, and then the level 3, which added the bottom part, then allowing access to the rest of this. I felt like it would make more sense the other way around, you know. First the simple colony, then the expansion of the infrastructure, which allows the things like shipyards and such, and then the defenses. Just in case you want to invest a little bit more. If you don't want to invest that much, there is also a satellite defense grid, which you can build in level 1, which is basically just a collection of 8 quad turbo laser satellites. No, 6 quad turbo laser satellites, 6 medium laser cannons, which are anti-starfighter, and 3 heavy missile launcher satellites around your station. It's very cheap. It doesn't cost any upkeep, really. It's basically just there to hold off like basic starfighter stuff, since your colony is so fragile itself. For the people that want a bit more defense, we have 3 levels of golden stations planned. Those are not yet rigged. I have them in progress. Golden 1 is like almost there, but not entirely. Let's see if I can show that off. Thanks to the Awakening of the Rebellion team, of course, for allowing us usage of their fancy stuff, which is the golden 1 in progress. I re-rigged it with the new lights. I modified our lights grid to have a teal and red version, which is what I plan to use here. And I'm going over some things like the UVs, putting new hangers there, re-rigging the bones, all that stuff. But again, work in progress, not yet done. That is basically going to be a far more heavy defense station, obviously. I can place these strategically around the map. We're also going to place all of the colonies more towards the center of the map. Right now they're completely towards one edge basically of the map. I want that basically somewhere around the center, so that I can then place these things around the main starbase, because not everything attaches to the main base. Things like the gas depots and the upgrade, the refinery, as well as the well, all of this basically. Everything that's not the administrative office. All of this does not attach to the station, neither does all of this. So I do need some space for that, so we're placing the starbase in the middle of the map. It also allows people to go around and attack stuff. Yeah, 3 golden levels. What's the difference between the 3 golden levels? Well, lore-wise, the golems were basically all the same thing. It's just that you add one number and then you give it a bit more HP and guns. I plan to differentiate them a little bit. Golden 1 is meant to be very tanky, but not that great in DPS. Mostly turbo lasers and stuff. I'll put some heavy weapons on it. Probably. Golden 2 will basically be the same as the Golden 1. Not that great in DPS, but very tanky, and it'll have a substantial starfighter garrison. And then the Golden 3 is basically the Golden 1, but far even more tanky and with sufficient heavy weapons that it can actually just swat off heavy assaults as well. You'll really be, if there is a Golden 3 somewhere in orbit, you're really meant to have to chew on that for a long time, while it is pouring a lot of firepower back at you, basically. And then the way I kind of try to differentiate them is by making the Golden 2 basically a starfighter platform as well. The minus numbers you see behind there is the population that I plan to make the starbases cost PopCap. In battle, not, because I feel like that is very fucky. You obviously don't want your things like your gas depots taking up population capacity in combat, but on the galactic map I think like that it would be nice to actually have to cost this. So realistically we're now seeing PopCap as kind of like a personnel type thing. So you know, when you have your space colonies and you upgrade the infrastructure, you get more people in orbit, or you can crew more stations, You see where it's going. There will also be upkeep, so you have to kind of pay for all of these. Yeah, that's that. Sky Strike is basically the replacement for the Calm Relay that we have right now. It's where you're going to be building your elite starfighters. Uplink Command, I'm not going to spoil. Strategic Command, it'll basically give you a command boost in Fleet Commander bonus in on the map when you are in combat there, and it will also occasionally drop in reinforcements. And I don't mean like a Corvette left and right, but also sometimes frigates or maybe even a light capital ship. With a high cooldown, of course, but yeah. I'm still thinking about giving this some sort of secondary function. Since the research station and the mercenary stations have been scrapped for the placeholder station, Valaducia had them planned, but this doesn't. I might also turn it into like a research thing. I'm not sure about that yet. Let's see, that should be all of the military things. The shipyards, they kind of speak for themselves in my opinion. You know, high level shipyard, you can build bigger ships. The gas depots and the gas refinery is only going to be buildable on gas giants. They're going to give you a flat amount of money, and they're actually going to reinforce each other's income. The idea is that I can buff the income stream from one of these through the other. So when you have a gas depot and a refinery station, it gives you more money than if you have, say, 2 gas depots or perhaps 2 gas refineries. So they kind of work in tandem there. To give you more money if you have like one of each, for example. The exact same goes for the luxury casino and the. Shouldn't that be there? That should actually be there, but whatever. The Space Casino and the Skyhook Luxury Settlements are basically the exact same thing, only instead of it working for gas giants, it works on urban planets. They reinforce each other's income, so it's better to have like one of each than, you know, having 2 of a single one. Administrative offices is basically a, as I already said, is your general purpose build it anywhere station. Not always wise to build it everywhere, of course, because it does cost an amount of money. And some planets don't give you that much base income, so. Aside from that, the mercenary outpost settlements have been scrapped, as well as the research station. Since we don't currently have the research that really justifies that. That's really it. Oh, I actually summed that up quite quickly. I say looking at the timer. That still took 23 minutes still. I hope that kind of explained what we're doing right now. We have a lot of these stations already done, thankfully, or at least the models and textures. I will want to re-rig each and every single one of them, as I always do, with a little bit of my own stuff. Thankfully, we have the great guys over in the Awakening of the Rebellion team, and the fact that we share so much content. The Golans, for example, are basically going to be theirs as well. Though technically I think they're evil Jedi Golans, you know, the ancient ones from way back when, that have gotten a major update through the Awakening of the Rebellion. Again, new lights, new hard points, that sort of stuff. I'll probably keep the blinkies though. The more I play Awakening of the Rebellion, the more sold I am on all these blinking lights everywhere. They're just too sexy to throw away. Anyhow, so yeah, stuff coming down the pipeline. A lot of under the hood is being done right now, which is just very bad for showing stuff off. Like, I can show you a model and such, and I can show it to you in game, but the amount of time it took to like get that all done, that's hard to show. And there's a lot of people working on these things right now. Again, we have the faction-specific mechanics in Galactic Conquest. Skirmish is getting a complete redo. With new stations, buildable stations. You get like build pads where you can also build stations. We have plans to be able to like capture docks, which then build other things. It's a lot. The AI, Skirmish AI being redone from the ground up, that too takes a while, of course. And then all of this, which also takes a long time to do. So, in the absence of any fancy new content in screenshots and such, I decided to make this video to basically let you know what's going on and that a lot of work is in fact being done. It's just mostly in the background. I hate updating people with in-progress stuff because while on some extent I like showing off in-progress shit, I hate it when people try to like generate hype for like in-progress shit that's not done. So I prefer to just show you the end result. But since that's impossible and it's been so many months of like fairly slow content updates, like going back in the ModDB image panel, you can see like occasionally like, okay, we have a new secular texture, great. We have like this, which is like one image and it doesn't at all show how much time that's been spent rigging that. Things like, oh, it's a new camera angle. Or, oh, we now have a Lancer or some combat shuttles. Of course, other than that, there is also a fuck ton of balance stuff still happening, and this is what the update history on GitHub looks like, which is just... There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah. A lot of stuff is happening, it's just not necessarily showable so easily, and that's why this video exists. So, I hope you enjoyed the update. I hope this kind of informed you on what the plans are regarding the Galactic Conquest starbases. I might make a video in the future about the actual finished Galactic Conquest mechanics whenever they're finished. The Empire is nearing completion, so I will be able to make a video on that at least, as well as the build change, the ground build change, because you can upgrade buildings now. But whatever, that's nothing new at this point. Well, it is for Remake, but it's not for in the Empire World modding community. Anyhow, I'm just rambling on. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video and enjoyed my madman's ramblings. You know how it is. For now, I wish you all a good rest of the Sunday. Well, I mean, that's not going to last much longer. Have yourself a good next week. How about that? And I will see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.